Hey, this is Kat from Red Mountain Shaman, and I share shamanic wisdom through dreams, visions, nature, synchronicities, intuition, channeling, art, music, photography, and shamanic journeys. Welcome back to my channel. So today I have a kind of a serious message that Yeshua brought through today, and it actually made me kind of emotional. So before I get into his message, I just wanted to go into a few things that I was kind of noticing this week. So one was these ladies that run a YouTube channel out of Canada. It's called 5D News, and they do tarot readings on different questions. They were asking about the Holy Land, and this is over like the past 2 weeks, actually. I think they've had 2 readings on the Holy Land. So it's really interesting because everything that they got from the cards is kind of similar to what I've been getting too, that there is some sort of a portal there, that it's been kind of negatively used, and there's a lot of vying for this portal for control, and also that a new portal is being created. So I totally resonate with all of that came through in their readings. Some people will say that Israel has nothing to do with anything, but I will tell you that one of the first things I saw when I had my own shamanic awakening and meditation was this building that was the Temple Mount. And at the time, I mean, I grew up Mormon, so I didn't even know what that building was until I looked it up. So I do think that there is something very significant there. And I do feel there's also artifacts there, because I was also shown that in shamanic journeys, a wolf digging up things in this area. So perhaps my higher self, I was told I was protecting it for some reason. So perhaps I'm protecting it from being completely taken over as an evil portal. I don't know exactly what's going on there yet, but I know that something's going on. So I think it will start to unfold. And if you look up YouTube videos, there have been anomalies over the Temple Mount where there's been orbs over it and a lot of crazy stuff happening. And I even have made videos about this. So yeah, we'll see what happens with it. So the next thing that I saw in meditation this week was a tractor, and it had dug a hole, and it hadn't really seemed to have found anything in the hole yet, but there was 2 brightly colored rubber balls. So I associate those balls as toys and associated probably with children. So that does not feel good. So we'll see what happens with that. And then somebody was asking about a dream about Putin, and this randomly came through about Putin, and I saw a banana, and then I saw that he had put out a banana peel for somebody to slip on. And so something maybe that he's done, maybe this is a metaphor for him laying out a trap for somebody to fall on. So we'll see what happens with that. Another thing that came through in a session this week was catching the next wave. I've talked about this before in other videos about I saw myself on a wave in the middle of the tube of a wave. So I feel like this wave is very symbolic of a lot of different things, like catching a wave of energy, catching a wave of opportunity, riding the wave, riding the storm. Sometimes maybe we'll catch a wave that seems important, and then we'll fall off the surfboard and fall off the wave, and then we wait for the next wave. So I just feel like this metaphor of the wave is really significant. It just keeps coming up for me. So it could be like a wave of energy, wave of opportunity. So I don't know. We'll just have to see what happens with that. Okay, so let's see. The next thing I've noticed that's happening in the news right now is the kind of like a migrant crisis is escalating, and it just feels like a lot of people are getting very emotionally involved in this. And so I wanted to ask Yeshua about that. And before I started getting his message today, as I've explained before, I do this like telepathically. I'm not like allowing anything into my body. I just am hearing words. So it's like a telepathic communication. So before we started that message today, I saw him in my third eye, and he showed up in red robes. So Religion will often invert things, and I think religion often makes these red robes out to be a symbol of his blood or his sacrifice. But I personally believe that he was taken out by the dark forces, and so I don't really believe in that, but he does talk about that, because I asked him, I was like, why are you coming in these red robes if that's like a religious inversion? And so he kind of explained a little bit, like one of the layers. I think there's a lot of layers of meanings of the color red and why he would show up in red robes, but today I think he wanted to bring forth a specific message, and the message is about the innocent ones, and what's going on with that, and how I was shown again the spider web, or like a big network that all kind of goes back to wealth and the sacrificial lambs, basically, of these little ones. And it is kind of a somber message, but he always brings peace, and he always brings his own perspective to it. And so I also asked him to draw a card at the end, so that's also a very beautiful card. So he always helps us to see things in a hopeful light, even though what's happening around us may feel very dark and chaotic. So thank you, Yeshua. And as I typed out his message, this is what I heard. Greetings, my beloved friends. It is with joy and concern I come forward with my perspectives today. As you know, there is a multi-dimensional event occurring. As in heaven, so it is on earth. This event is a battle that has been escalating as we come to the crux of the shift in consciousness upon the earth. There are many layers, seen and unseen. Some of you may be able to feel what is happening more than you can observe with the natural eyes. I encourage you to go within for discernment and deeper spiritual sight as to what is taking place around you. As we move into the second half of this year, the escalation will continue. The acceleration will continue. Many of you are fully aware that we are in a conflict on many levels. This conflict is beginning to play out as more emotions are brought to the surface. Those who do not have your best interest at heart love to pull on the emotional strings in order to have you play into their fear, and in order to get you to have empathy towards those who are part of the destruction and part of the assault of the innocent who cannot speak for themselves. What is being deployed is now being seen as action in the physical realm in order to continue with what has been going on behind the scenes. I would call this a clean up or a clean out. There are some that truly believe they are on the side of the righteous, as all is inverted and narratives are constantly being twisted in order to pull as many into deception as possible. Disengage from narratives that are distilled down to one catchphrase that is used by many outlets or streams of news, for they are not telling of what lies beneath the surface stories. And speaking of what lies beneath the surface, there will be newly discovered artifacts, bones, and remnants of the real accounts that have been buried and thought to be forgotten. But they will be found, and they will be remembered. The truth must come to the surface for all to witness. What was thought to be buried and gone will rise to the surface for truth to be seen, and justice to be served, and for history to be righted. What has been done in my name to the innocent ones will be seen, as disturbing as it might be, for it must be witnessed and accounted for. This harrowing saga of hidden agendas and self-serving sacrifice must come to an end, for the Great Spirit has given ample time for the wicked to right their wrongs. As they continue to rear up in their deception and violence and control, they will find themselves curtailed at every turn. For the time has come when all that was hidden must be unearthed. I come in my red robes not to represent my own sacrifice, but in honor of the innocent who have been sacrificed under the false mantle of power and under the blackest magic of those who serve Mammon. In many cases, I would say, forgive them, for they know not what they do. But in other cases, these black magicians know exactly what they are doing. It is as if the soul has become so separated from Source that it no longer carries empathy for those who are destroyed within its path of abhorrent abominations. When a being has gone into such a state, some become as a black hole. And this has been the case for some who have been given the free will to play out their desires on the world stage. All innocent ones will be healed around the tree of life, as you have been shown. The Creator has within it the perfection of timing and of restoration for the bystanders of atrocities. The healing of the earth and the healing of humanity will ensue as these atrocities and those committing them are faced with proper justice, so that mercy may be granted. Those who find their gifts and voices as volunteers at this time will find themselves in the right circumstances and with the proper resources to assist the Great Spirit in this restoration. Remember who you are and the power of light within you to be co-creators in this great turning of the tables. Divine order is unfolding, even as the escalation continues. Hold the peace within your hearts and trust in the truth of my words. As we unify within the chaos, we bring the light of heaven to earth. As we trust in the divine's perfect will, we will bring forward our sacred missions and contributions in order to magnify this divine will through our own vessels of light. For we are indeed clay in the potter's hands. We are an extension of the divine. As we seek out divine will, we will find our own will comes into perfect alignment with it. We find ourselves seeking to work together with it. For as we become one with the Great Spirit of all things, we bring forth that which is our highest form of creation. And so it is. I am Yeshua, he who seeks to bring peace to a troubled world and shows the way to peace within you. Let it be so. Thank you, Yeshua. So he's using this word mammon, and this is in the Bible, and I've always said I think there is a little bit of truth in the Bible, but I think a lot of it has been severely edited and rearranged, and a lot of the most powerful books have been taken out. But I do think there is some truth in it still, and he is using this word that he has used, or that has been used in the Bible. And so I didn't really know what it meant, because I kind of knew it had a negative connotation, but I'm not a super biblical scholar, so I wanted to look it up. And so mammon in Aramaic means money, material wealth, or any entity that promises wealth and is associated with the greedy pursuit of gain. And then another definition I found was, during the Middle Ages, Mammon was personified as Mammon, the demon of greed and avarice, who was one of the 7 deadly sins and a prince of hell. As a demon, Mammon has been associated with pagan gods and the Roman god of the underworld, and wealth, and Plutus, and the Greek god of abundance and wealth. And then the Webster Dictionary says, having a debasing influence, worldliness. And then I also found a passage that said, Jesus taught that the love of money and the relentless pursuit of wealth can lead to greed, materialism, and disregard for spiritual and moral values. And then I looked up to see if there was some scriptures about it, and it says in Proverbs 13:22, a good man leaves his inheritance to his children, but the wealth of the wicked is stored up for the righteous. So I believe that scripture kind of says that the wealth of the wicked will be transferred to the righteous so that we can do good things with it. So I don't think that resources and money are inherently evil. It's just what we do with it and where your focus is if your focus is constantly on obtaining wealth, then you can start to make that your importance over God. So I think some of these prosperity gospels really emphasize gaining material wealth, and you'll see a lot of these pastors have so much wealth compared to their audience, and so they have really used it in the wrong way. I think that it's totally fine to want to be in abundance. And I don't think that the Great Spirit wants us to be in lack and suffering, but she just wants us to be in a place of prosperity and abundance, in a way that we're assisting others and we're serving others with it, and we're not getting caught up in it. Because when you look at also in Rome, those leaders, they've just amassed so much wealth over their empire, over the course of their empire. It's just insane. And they're not really dispersing it to others. They're hoarding it. They're displaying it. And also I think they are using it to even possibly get others to do things that are not of God. So that's interesting, because then it leads to the black hole. And so I was like, well, why is Yeshua saying that some of these souls become as a black hole? And so I looked up the black hole and what a black hole is. And I think Yeshua was actually using that as a metaphor as to what happens to these souls who completely digress into materialism and into their own self-serving desires. And so a black hole, when I looked it up, has an incredibly strong gravitational field, because nothing can escape black holes. No visible light. They do not emit or reflect light. So I think Yeshua was just saying they're just kind of like an empty vessel. They cannot no longer carry light. So I thought that was really interesting. So I believe that if we do have good intentions with wealth, we can use it to align ourselves with the Creator's will, and we can start co-creating and creating new things, and using our own creation abilities to use these resources and opportunities that we're given in life in order to align with the Creator and create beauty on this world and start bringing forward the new earth. So I asked Yeshua if he wanted to have his energy kind of pull a card today concerning what his message was today. And the card that flew out was from the Shamanic Medicine book by Barbara Meiklejohn and Flavia Kate Peters. And the card is called Air, Creativity. The winds of change billow as air fills your wings and directs your journey. With this medicine, through meditation and connection with the astral world, the power of air sweeps through your imagination, gracing you with fresh ideas and awakening your creative juices. Disregard doubts about your ability, as your fears will blow you off course. Instead, breathe in inspiration. Stand firmly in the eye of the storm, and know your ideas and visions are valid. When you truly get creative, a gateway to real magic opens and beckons you to a world you have been longing to discover. Call upon air to assist you with all aspects of ingenuity. Paint, draw, write, dance, and be free as the creative spirits of air fuel your imagination, encouraging you to make wishes and to dream big. You are being urged to take your head out of the clouds and to leap into action, so that air can usher in all that is needed for you to fly towards your goals. This is a time of fertility, as air blows you towards new beginnings. Throw caution to the wind and watch as your visions manifest into reality. And then it says, air revealed. The element of air is vital for our survival, for without it, we would all perish. On a very deep level, each breath reminds us of our communication or communion with nature. All living beings are dependent on air for their existence. Air governs the magic of the four winds. It is the common denominator that binds all things together. From tempestuous winds, hurricanes, and tornadoes to a fresh, gentle breeze, this element is the breath of life, from our first breath of birth to our last. Other divinatory meanings are: work with the element of air to still the mind, meditate daily, a perfect time to begin new projects, trust the images you see in your mind, get creative, go into nature, listen to the wind, take long, hilly walks, parachute, skydive, take a risk, and follow your dreams. So I've been talking about creating our dreams, and for a couple years now, and it does seem like we're all kind of tired of this movie playing out, and we just kind of want the resources to be returned back to the righteous. And I believe the New Age, like I said, doesn't really think that there's evil and good, but I really, Yeshua talks about it, so I think there really is wicked beings on this planet, and that they have created these systems that have been very enslaving, and so that money must be it was stolen, so it must be taken back and given back to those who are ready to create new earth and create beauty and love and create healing for others, and whatever else we're guided to do to create the new frequency on this earth. And so everything that's playing out right now is taking down these old systems and these networks of evil. So if you see a lot of chaos happening, just know beneath the surface that Yeshua was talking about, there's a lot of layers of activity going on in order to take down this wickedness that he's talking about. So I hope something today resonated with you. It was kind of a somber message. But I do love to clear with the bells, and so at the beginning of every video that I make, there is a song that my husband and I created. That's the background music that you're hearing. And every video that I make starts out with bells. And I did this unintentionally, not knowing what I did. And then there's other people in the spiritual community talking about the bells. And I do believe that there was bells in a lot of these sacred places of healing, and they took them all out. And so I've gotten messages about the bells. We have a new record that's going to be coming out in the next month or two, and in one of our songs I talk about the bells ringing, and those bells ringing in freedom and bringing back the healing that they once held. So it'll be interesting to see if this metaphor with the bells actually comes into reality, into fruition. So anyway, I hope you guys all have a great week. I make my videos every Sunday, so please check back, because a lot of my clients and people have been saying that's kind of hard to find my videos, so they might be getting a little bit buried. So subscribe and check back on Sundays if you would like to keep up with my content, and press the notification bell. That might help. Leave a comment. That always helps me as well. And if you'd like to leave a donation, just go to redmountainshaman.com. To the bottom of my contact page, there is a PayPal that you can leave it, and it's my husband's name. So if you'd like to book a session with me, I have a couple cancellations at the end of the month. So if you want to take any of those spots, just give me a text. You can go to my contact page to learn how to book a session with me. I hope you guys all have a great week, and stay in your peace and stay centered. Sending y'all love. Take care.